Hello, Anne. Thank you so much for joining us in this new episode of Blah Blah Energy with Grace. I really wanted to have you on this podcast because when I stumbled on your page on Instagram, I felt that it was a safe space for moms. And I felt the amount of work and energy that you were putting on your page. And I really wanted to celebrate your work because sometimes I think like we forget about moms. Moms take all the responsibilities. It's like we think they are superwomen, but who is taking care of our moms? And I think you are that mom who is taking care of all the other moms around the world. And I really wanted to have you here in order to share your work and the ways you're helping the moms who are working, the moms at home, and the mom entrepreneurs. So thank you so much for coming here today. And I can't wait for us to know more about what you do.
Well, thank you so much for those beautiful words and for this beautiful opportunity to do this with you. And I'm super excited. So yeah, I can't wait to tell you a bit more. But thank you, beautiful words, because like you said, we moms sometimes get left behind a little bit, and that's the whole reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Yeah.
Which is great. Um, Tell us more about you. Introduce yourself, like the way that you introduce yourself to your community.
Okay, so I'm Anne. I'm originally from Germany. I'm married to a Mauritian man, and we've got two children. And we've been living in Mauritius for about 6 years now. But before that, I've always dreamt of traveling the world and seeing everything that's out there. But obviously, when family came along, that changed a lot. And I really went through this transition of motherhood, of like loving every bit of mom life. I had a great first year. I was living in London back then, and I had paid maternity leave for 1 year. And it was one of the most beautiful years in my life. And I tried to continue this kind of life while working and realized that it's not very sustainable. And because I loved motherhood so much, I gave so much of myself in motherhood that at some point I realized that I didn't even know anymore who I was if I wasn't a mom. So I was really like, who's Anne? What do I actually like? Who am I? What is my purpose outside of motherhood? So there was like 5 million questions going on in my head. And it was a lot of like trouble in terms of everything was beautiful from the outside. You know, Pinterest perfect, Instagram perfect, life, baking, playing, beautiful kids photos, beautiful life in Mauritius, by the beach, everything perfect. But in my head, it was far from perfect. I was just constantly thinking like, is that it? You know, is that what I'm going to do the rest of my life? And I felt guilty for it because everything was perfect. Like, well, who am I? Thinking like, why am I not happy in what I have and all of that? So yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on like that. And eventually, I had a second baby, and that kind of amplified all of that. And when I was supposed to return from maternity leave, the company I was working for said that they wouldn't be able to continue my contract. And I was like, that's okay, because I didn't really want to go back. And I really took it as an opportunity to rethink everything I was doing. And I started a business. I had no idea what business I was going to do. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something for moms because it was always so dear to my heart. But I just started something. And the journey is interesting. And I guess we get into that in a little while. But it started off as something very different from what I'm doing today. So yeah, that's not like a short introduction, but it summarizes what really was going on for me.
So you were like, I think the fact that you felt that type of way, maybe you were like waiting for like a helping hand to help you in those moments. And maybe it was like now you want to be that helping hand. So maybe that's how you thought about your idea for creating a community for moms.
Yeah, like what happened was that when I started the business, I started it as a virtual assistant, and I was introduced to someone through a friend. I did some work for her. I was quite good at it. It was kind of much related to what I used to do when I was working in a corporate environment. So it was my skills. I enjoyed the flexibility, working from home, being my own boss. And I did a virtual summit, and that was mainly for mom entrepreneurs, because I thought, like, if I can stumble into entrepreneurship without a clue of what I was actually going to do, and being able to generate a stable income just after a few months, maybe I can share my journey, and maybe I can inspire some other moms to just go for it. Because really what happened was I just went for it. I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I will succeed, but I just thought, let's just try. What's the worst thing that can happen? Yeah, I can fail. I go back and find a job, basically. But I was lucky that it went quite well. And I thought I'll share that. So I created a community in terms of like email community. I like to write. I enjoy writing. So I write a lot of emails, and I started sharing about my mom experience and all these things, all that confusion that was going on in my head. And I got so many responses from that, and so many like encouraging words of like, I love this story. This is what happened to me too. Thank you for sharing. I really needed to hear this kind of thing. So I was really intrigued by those positive responses and thought, like, okay, I'm not the only one. I'm not the crazy mom here who's like, I don't know, like going through some midlife crisis or whatever. It's a thing. A lot of moms go through a lot of stuff. And that's what I started to kind of dig a little bit deeper, really listen to myself a little bit more and share. And the more I shared, the more I realized like this is so important, because so many moms go through that. And so many moms, especially now after the pandemic and the lockdowns and all the pressure that was put on them on top of everything that's already going on for them, I just realized how important it is. And it really lights me up. And it really lights me up to see that moms are able to change things. I'm excited about the change I have gone through, from being that like full-on super mom, doing everything for my children, to now prioritizing myself more and being able to listen to who I am and what I want, and still be that mom who is there for her kids as much as possible. And to share that, it's just, I mean, that with your platform, sharing stories is so powerful, and I love doing that. So that's what the thought was, like creating the community to share what I've been going through. And like I said, these positive responses are just like, they're lighting up the fire. So yeah.
You said something interesting is about supermom. So I usually see in your content that you refer to the supermom. For those who don't know, what is your definition of supermom? And maybe some of the moms may recognize them in your definition. Tell us more about being the supermom.
Yeah, so I call myself a recovering supermom, because I used to like the term supermom. I don't anymore, because I think, yeah, so supermom, I call myself now a recovering supermom, because I used to be a supermom and I used to love that title, and it was a bit of like the badge of honor, being like, wow, yeah, I'm supermom.
You are a recovering supermom.
Yeah, recovering supermom, because I think the term supermom creates a lot of issues. It sounds cool and it's exciting, and it sounds like we're doing it really well because we're supermom and we can do all the things. And like supermom is seen as mom who does everything. Like she carries the shopping, she carries the baby, she does all the things. But at the end of the day, in reality, it means that we're just doing too much and that we're not prioritizing ourselves. And so supermom for me is like very misleading, because it sounds good, but actually creates the problem that we're doing too much, that we're getting overtired, that we're exhausted, that we're trying to juggle, and we think we have to do it all ourselves, because otherwise we're not super, we're just mom. And it's not the case. Like, we don't have to do all the things. We're still a great mom, even if we're not super. Like, it doesn't mean that a mom has to do 5 million things at once and, bake the homemade food and bring the cake for the school outing. and do the beautiful craft things. Like there's a lot of high expectations that's being put on moms, and it causes this issue that we just can't do it all. And especially with the pandemic, it's just shown that for many moms it's not sustainable to keep doing all these things. On top, if you're a working mom, even more so, to juggle the work and all the other things. So yeah, supermom is like this title has been created in society that for me it causes a lot of issues, and I don't like to be called supermom anymore.
And whenever you're talking with like the moms in the community, do you see that this is a pattern you usually find like in moms? And is it difficult for them to detach from that badge of honor of being like a super mom?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it all comes back to a lot of the society telling us that, we've got to do that. We've got to be this kind of parent. We've got to create the attachment with our child. We've got to, like, just being a mom is not necessarily seen as good. Like, like we should be wanting to work, we should be wanting to do more, because only a mom is just a mom. So it's this constant tag and pull between all the things we think we should be doing and the things we can physically do, but also again this whole high expectations. And maybe that's particular for people who have a lot of ambition as well. Usually in my community I have a lot of moms who either have a business or they're working, and they somehow want to fulfill their dreams but still have a family with them. And this is where it becomes difficult, because it's life has become incredibly busy. The internet has shown us like these perfect worlds. Instagram showing us these perfect baby photos and the perfect house, and the mom entrepreneur who's easily sitting there with her baby on her lap working along. We see all this, and then reality is so different. Then reality comes and you're locked down and you have kids at home who have nothing to do, and you don't know what to do with them, and you don't want to do anything with them because it's all the time. So it's this constant like, oh, am I doing this right? Am I doing it well enough? Am I parenting them right? Am I screwing them up by, I don't know, being too much or too little? There's so many things there that we see, so many messages, and we just don't know what's right or wrong because there's no manual.
Exactly. Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's like being a parent is so difficult, and there's so much standards on the parents and so much pressure. And now some parents, some moms have to, it's like they have to prove themselves. It's as if they have to prove themselves in society nowadays, because they will judge by how the kids are grown up, you see. And I think this can bring a lot of guilt in the moms. Am I don't know, raising my kid as I should? Or how did you deal with guilt? And what was your journey maybe to try to rewire the way you were feeling about yourself in those moments?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah, definitely guilt is always there, even today. I mean, like for example, I often feel guilty that I work a lot in my business, because my business is still, it's still picking up, and sometimes it can be stressful, and I'm trying to balance. And I have this like morning I work, afternoon I'm with the kids, and then I work again evenings. But sometimes the mind doesn't quite, comply with your schedule. Your mind is always on. So I do feel guilt around sometimes like checking on my phone when I'm supposed to be with the kids, and all of that. Or like I felt very guilty, for example, my first son, he was a very bad sleeper, and I tried all the different techniques of like sleep training and all of the things that you can imagine, and nothing worked. And I felt really bad because I was like, I'm not able to get this guy to sleep. And he only started sleeping through when he was about 6 years old. So up until 6 years old, he was waking up every single night, sometimes 10 times. And I was like, I felt like a failure because this can't be so difficult. It's sleep. We're naturally supposed to sleep. Why is this guy not sleeping? And what am I doing wrong? And why can I not sleep train? And why does it hurt me so much when he cries? And like there was a lot of this like guilt of like, I'm not doing it right. I must be doing something wrong. Or if I'm doing the sleep training, is he going to be scarred for life because he's crying? And but eventually, I think what really happened is that I felt like I have to let go of that. I tried for many years to fix the situation. I couldn't. Okay, it's what it is. Eventually, he started sleeping through all by himself. It took longer than it takes for most moms, but he's now sleeping through. So he's okay. Like you survived, I survived. It's okay. But with the guilt, really, I think I'm doing the best I can. And the best is more than good enough because I always have my kids as my priority. I'm trying to show up in the best possible way. I'm trying to give them the opportunities in life that they deserve. And that's good enough. And sometimes I might not be, I might be a shouty mummy at some point when I'm just overwhelmed and stressed. But I love them. I love them to bits. And that's good enough. That's what a mom is supposed to do. And, even if it's not perfect, I think that I'm still doing quite well. And this is what I keep telling myself when there's days when I'm like, like today you were really not the best. Okay, it's been a hard day. You did what you did. Tomorrow is a better day. So yeah, I think this is what it is.
Great. And I see that you involve your kids, like, and all the kids of other moms that are joining your programs. And I think when your kid is like, I don't know, listening to you talking to other moms, it is a way of education as well. And you are instilling in your child values that you may not know, because there are some words that your kid may hear. And what would you say is the most important thing for you to instill in your child? Like, what are the values?
Oh, okay. Interesting question. Well, for me, what's very important is to understand that there are opportunities, even when things are tough, even when things maybe don't go as you want or as planned, there are opportunities, and you'll get there, even if it's a longer path, kind of. So I think it's this positive outlook, and it's like, don't give up. But also, I think a lot of times for me, what I learned, especially for the entrepreneurship, is to take action, to do what you feel doing, even if it's not perfect, even if you don't know how to do it, but to give it a go. I think this is very important. And I see that in my older son, that he has the confidence to just stand up and say, I want to do this, let me try it. And okay, he falls, it doesn't succeed, but he will get up and he will try it again. And that's something very important. But also, I think respect is big for me. Respect yourself, first of all, and respect others. And obviously, as a mom who lives with two boys and a husband, it's valuing your mom, valuing what she does, valuing female, having a female role model in their life for me is very important. And I do share a lot with them in terms of like that it's not easy to do all the things, and that I share with them my emotions as well. Like when I have a day when I'm not, cheerful, when I'm maybe annoyed with them, I share with them why. And I really try to, first of all, help them understand their own emotions, but also to see like, mom is just trying her best and it's not always working out, but she's trying, Yeah. So I think this is probably most important for me.
I think what you said is really interesting because your kids will become like parents in a few years. So by showing them that you're taking care of yourself, you're showing them that one day when they will get married, this should be a norm. And there should be like some type of balance. And I think by like mom needs to realize that you have to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, it's like you're not showing your kid that they should take care, for instance, of their wife, or that their wife should be able to have their alone time. It's good to start putting those standards right when they are kids and remove that guilt, because I think being a mom is such a wonderful job, that it's a way of educating as well, like how to treat your wife or your girlfriends, or you see, it's right, it's the time. So I think that's amazing. By looking at you, they are like unconsciously taking bits and pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to say, I mean, my husband, like I'm very lucky in terms of like he's very involved with the children. He does his part. Of course, he's working, so he's not at home as much. But like for me, it's this role model of the family, and that everyone has a role in the family, and that we're doing this together as a team is very important, because that's what I want to see in the world more. I want to see other families work in that way, because this all role distribution of the mom, the wife doing all these things, I don't think it's sustainable, and I don't think it should be this way in the world anymore for the future moms to come. And I don't have a daughter, so I can't tell her, I can't, make her into that mom, but at least I can create those future husbands who hopefully, support their wife, their partner, in anything, be it in the parenting or be it in the career, if they maybe choose not to have children, who knows. But it's important to me, exactly. There's like equal importance, what they do, and equal importance of their personalities, and like you said, prioritizing yourself. I think it's key.
And there's different types of family. For instance, I come from a single parent family. So for instance, my mom had to be like the mom and the dad, but I had amazing grandparents who contributed as well. So there's no typical family, and I think each family is trying to do their best that they can. And whenever you're working with different moms and everything, what is the core values that you try to set for your community?
Yeah, I think the importance is that to share, to build this friendship and the support of each other. Like I believe quite often women can be quite nasty to each other because of I don't know, competition and judgment and that kind of thing. And actually, when I became a mom, it really surprised me how judgmental moms are about the other moms, about the other moms parenting and all that stuff. And that doesn't help anyone. So for me, definitely is remove all the judgment. We're only humans, we're only trying our best, but also we are in it together. And by having these conversations about it is hard, it is draining, it is not always fun, it doesn't always feel like it's the best job in the world, but by speaking about it, like we're giving each other the space. And I think this is important, and to realize that we matter, we are important, and we have to prioritize ourselves, because then we can show up and we can take care of our family, we can do all the things we want to do without burning out or feeling exhausted and drained, because that's not a great place to be.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the different feelings that moms can feel, and in your space that you've created online for your community, tell us a bit more about that community. I know you do different workshops. For instance, there's the family wheel, how to conquer your inner chaos. I see that there's like different topics that you create. Tell us more about your workshops and how it is helping moms.
Yeah, so I've got different workshops that are usually around different topics, and it's just really to offer a space to other moms where we can come together. I share my experience, and I share the tools and techniques that I picked up along the way that really made a difference for me. Like the family wheel, for example, was something I did quite early on that really helped me to find clearer of like what's happening and why do I feel this kind of disconnect with myself, and why do I feel confused about, like, life looks perfect but it doesn't feel perfect. So that's a tool that I love sharing, and it's really just to help other moms maybe try to think in a different way. And then I've got the membership, which is a paid community where I share trainings and where we really get together in terms of master classes and discussing and creating this space where we openly share what's going on, and where we really try to find solutions for each other, with each other, even just cheering each other on to be like, yeah, you can do it. Like, I don't know, some business project is coming on and we'll just brainstorm, or someone has an issue with parenting questions, we'll just share what we've experienced. Because even though we're very connected today, and even though we've got friends around us and family around us, very often moms feel quite alone, because we have it all in our mind, in our head, and we don't necessarily put it out. And this can cause this feeling of like, like, am I doing it right? Or what am I actually doing? So the community is there to help, and obviously to then share opportunities to learn from other women, from other moms, in terms of personal development, and again, like even professional development, self-care, wellness. So that's the membership. And then I do coaching in terms of one-on-one program where I lead my clients through different transitions, and where we discuss like really personal situations, and where we try to create some solutions for them. But it's all very like, okay, let's talk about what's going on, and let's see how we can create something that helps you get out of this, because it's so easy to be stuck in a situation, because we feel like there's no way, or maybe we're scared, maybe we had experiences in the past where we like, it didn't work, I don't have the confidence to do it. And it's really just to encourage and to show maybe some different ways that we moms can do life, motherhood.
And there's something very interesting as well. You bring experts in their field, speakers, to share their experience with other moms. So this is an added value, I think, because as I said, we learn from other people's stories, and this is one of the tools that you're bringing for the moms. Can you tell us more about, I don't know, the different speakers? How does it work? Like, share a bit about it.
Yeah, so I love connecting with people. For me, it's I really love to just support each other, see what other people are doing, and understand how we can support and create synergies. I very much believe in collaboration. I think we have what's happening? Sorry, my battery is dying.
No worry. Go relax. That's fine.
Like the light went out, and then the laptop went out, and then the battery sign came on. So I don't know. We're not. No, I think technology is making it a bit difficult for us, but it's charged, like it's plugged in. That's why I'm like, why is it coming on? So we should be okay.
We will get through.
Anyway, so yes. Oh, we always get through it. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. We just have to deal with what we've got in our hands. So and technology sometimes is so unpredictable. But yeah, experts, like, I learned so much in life from listening and talking to other women and other moms. And I don't think that I have it all figured out. I have very unique circumstances to myself, which don't necessarily apply to everyone else. But by bringing in a variety of people, and also diversity of different backgrounds, different ethnicities, that's a terrible word for me to say, but different cultures, I find that really important. Like, I really want to bring different ideas and different thoughts on the table, so that we can pick and choose what applies to us, and that we just also like have an open mind. And that's probably one of the values that I really bring to my children as well, is like, have an open mind and see what's out there, and how other people, what are their circumstances, what are they doing, learn from them. But just always, have an open mind to see what's happening, because you can meet amazing people, and the internet gives us this possibility, and I love that. So yeah, I bring different speakers into the group, and I've recently partnered with a non-profit organization in the US as well. It's called the She Can Network. So that's very new. I haven't actually publicized it very much, but
Fresh news for us.
it's a company. Yes, so this is a big news. It was, at least for me, but it's a company that specializes. They are focused on bringing in speakers that speak about personal development, professional development, and wellness. And it's all with the purpose of helping women to thrive in life. And for me, that's amazing. Like these women are really, they're making it happen. You know, they put so much effort and love into it. And they're bringing so many people together and creating these amazing events. So it's my value, you know, what I just shared in terms of collaborating and seeing what other people are doing, and they're doing that in a larger scale. So I'm bringing that into my membership, which I think is really cool because it gives so much choice. I mean, there's so many things available to us. I think we just have to really understand what is important. I mean, sometimes it also happens that we end up consuming so many things. I don't know. I mean, I'm a podcast listener. I read books, and sometimes I'm like into that world of like learning, which also is not necessarily the best. But I think when you're clear about what's important and you just really focus on those things and you learn from other women or other experts, you know, a lot of things can happen. I think it's quite cool.
Great. And you didn't say the name, Come Home to You. I think
Yes.
it's like the moms come home to themselves. And I think it is
Yes.
so powerful. And that's true. It's like moms are pillars of the family. Once there's a crack in the foundation, the family stumbles like. And I think the Come Home to You, and what I like about Come Home to You is you say to the moms, I know life is busy, it's hectic. You know what? Come as you are. Come, like, even though your hair is messy, your kids are playing in the background, it's about gathering together to support each other and see each other grow. And as you said, it is all about community over competition. It's like, how can we become the best version of ourselves each and every day? So you are doing such a fantastic job, I think so. And a lot of mom can benefit from that because, as I'm saying, who is helping our mom? Because moms are like, if they don't take care of themselves, how will they take care of the family? So this is a moment where they can distress, like come and relax and gain a lot from you. So you are doing such a fantastic job and you're having opportunities, and I can't wait to see that flourish. And I'm not a mom, but I'm so excited for for the community because I think there needs to be a change, and you are doing a change. And I think that change will cause a ripple effect because you are helping other families, and these families are helping other people as well. So, which is great. Your impact is imperishable. So keep doing your
Thank you
amazing
for that
work.
pep talk.
And what I wanted to know, it's like, what's a typical, like, let's say we are having like a typical come to home. What's going on? What are we talking about? And how is it like a typical come to home session?
Yeah, I mean, it can be very different. It really depends on what topic is going on. But usually, each month has like a theme. You know, overall, I mean, for example, it could be confidence, or it could be fears, or it could be like at the moment we're talking about imposter syndrome as a mom, where we like constantly wondering, are we doing it well? Are we being good enough? Or who am I to think I'm a good mom, and all of that. So it really depends on the theme usually of the month. And then really what I'm trying to do is like create some content that kind of shares tools and practices that they can try out. And then we also discuss, we really talk about, you know, like what came up for you, how are things, what is do you feel imposter syndrome, or you don't have that, or you know, like what would you suggest, how would you tell your friend if your friend came to you and would say like, I'm such a crappy mom, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm messing up my son's sleep situation, what would you tell her, you know, like that kind of thing, where it's just really conversations and sharing experience. And like you said, come as you are, you know, if you can make it, you make it. if you can only come for 10 minutes to say hi, that's cool as well. So it's no pressure, and it's really trying to just be together and having conversations, where we really focus. And I have a lot of the moms in the community really say, like, for them this time is sacred, because they hardly get that moment of like alone time and really focusing on themselves. But when there is the community call, they it's in the schedule, they make it happen, they find care for the children, whatever it is, but it's for them, it's so important. And that's the beauty, where where by putting something in the calendar and then you go back, you really feel excited and energized to go back in your life. Like, it's a bit of an escape, kind of, where you really just surround yourself with like-minded women, and you like have a chat and you feel supported. And even if you feel down, that at the end of that call you come out happy, and with like new thoughts and new opportunities. And that's amazing. So that's what I try to create in the membership.
It's like a rebirth. You said something at the beginning. It's like, at some point you were lost, you forgot who Anne was. And I think a lot of mom has, as soon as they become a mom, they lose their identity and they take the identity of mother. When they are so much more. They have passions, they have dreams. You have the dream of traveling. You are a you like doing macrames. You have a lot of passion. So it is really important to let our mom know, yes, you are a mom, but you are who you are. You have passions. And it doesn't mean that as soon as you get a child, you have to stop everything. Maybe at some point, you will have to stop, but you can still go back to that dream. And being a mom does not mean that you cannot fulfill your dreams, you see? So what has been your journey to go into that type of thinking that you are now? And what are the little works you do on a daily basis, so as you don't forget that, okay, I am Anne, not just a mom?
Yeah, I love that question. Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a very interesting journey. Like I said, it wasn't clear to me that this was what was happening, that I lost my identity. I didn't, this was not words that came to me naturally. I was doing the best I could, and I loved it. Like, I was like, this is what I'm called to. Like, I have my son, and I love every bit of it. But I realized that it's just not sustainable. So I was starting to have some health issues. I was starting to feel really tired and starting to resent motherhood. Like, what used to be fun, the baking, the crafting, it wasn't fun anymore. It was more like, okay, like, I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to enjoy this time. I'm supposed to come up with ideas that I can do so that he doesn't have to be on the screen. I'm supposed to make healthy food so he doesn't eat the crappy chocolate. But it didn't feel like, like fun. It was just something I was supposed to do. And that's when I started thinking, like, this can't be. He's only, I mean, back then he was like 3 or 4 years old, and I'm already feeling like that. What is going to happen in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the road, So I think it was really realizing that I don't have to do these things just because I see it, just because I read it in a parenting book. I don't have to do it. I can listen to myself, what I actually want to do. And that was, I think, after the first, like, let's say 3 to 4 years, was something new, where it was like, what do I want? Because it was always, okay, I love crafting, I love macrame, I love doing these things. But as soon as there was something with the children, I would drop it and I would be mom. So it was always, the motherhood was always bigger than everything else, bigger than the career. Like, I would always be the one who would go if someone was sick. I would be the one who leaves the office on time and not like focusing on the project because I wanted to be back at my children. But there was always something in the back of my mind which was like, yeah, but like, you can do stuff. Like, there's some cool ideas I had in my mind, and I want to do these things, but I can't. And then at some point it shifted. I'm like, but why can I not? Like, I can. I just have to make changes. And that was the biggest shift, where I realized it's a lot about the boundaries, because I didn't have boundaries around myself. I didn't see myself important enough to say, no, I need my hour of doing macrame because I feel I need to have some creative outlet, or I need to go and see a friend, and husband now should take care of the children. It was always like, I would like to, but it's okay if I don't do it. But at the end, if you do that for a long time, it's not okay, because the desire, the wanting is still there, and then it feels unfulfilled. So I think it's a lot about boundaries, to say, okay, I'm important enough to say no to some things, and I'm important enough to say, you can wait, or we will do it tomorrow, or I'm going to take some time off now because I need to do that. And that's something that was not easy. Like when you give everything you have for several years, and then suddenly you say like, oh no more, it doesn't go down too well. You can imagine. So it's definitely been a journey to create these boundaries. Also with, again, lockdown, everyone being at home, no school, the office door would just go open. I'll be on a Zoom call, be like, hey, I'm on a Zoom call, get out of here. It's like, like it was a lot of like sticking out, repeating myself 5 million times, but knowing that I'm worth it. I'm worth the struggle to say, no, you can't do this, because it's important to me. And at the end of the day, that's important to them too, because like we said earlier, when mommy's happy, family is happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so daily practices for me is to remind myself of that, because it's easy to just forget, easy to jump off and be like, oh, he needs a snack. Okay, let me run and get him a snack. And then like, no, he's 7. He can get his snack by himself. So it's constantly reminding yourself. And I mean, for example, I used to do a lot of sports as well. And then after like having a child, I stopped. So I'm really trying to have a routine, which is not easy. And I'm not as happy as I would want to be with the sports side of things. But again, it's like, okay, what can I do? What little things? I used to run for hours, which I can't because I don't have the time these days. But at least I go for a morning walk every morning with the kids. Okay, it's not a run, but it's a walk. I get movement. Like it's a lot of accepting that maybe life is not perfect and it can't happen the way I want to have it happen, but it's happening in some sort of way. Yeah, so I think that's the 2 main things: boundaries, and just kind of going with what you've got at your hands and making the most out of it.
That's great. And your story as well, I think is great. It's like I was reading your Instagram, and I love how authentic and vulnerable you are. And I think putting your story out there is, I think, helping other people. And I think the main thing is to be vulnerable among moms, because maybe you can relate to each other. Maybe there are bits and pieces that are similar, and that's great. Like being vulnerable and sharing your story. And you said, like, I think at some point at work, you were having issues and everything. And this is where you've learned a lot about staying true to yourself and keep working. It's like you've learned something from these hardships at work. And what I love is when you lost your job, you took the opportunity to create a business. Having kids, having a husband, creating a business, and not just a business about catering for moms, putting out different events. I was like, I'm gobsmacked. I'm gobsmacked because I'm like at home studying and working at the same time, and I'm like, oh, I'm tired. But you are just creating like something which demands a lot of energy. I want you to give hope to all the moms out there who have dreams, but they say, okay, no, I won't be able to do that. But I know if Anne was able to do that, you can do that. Exactly. I would really love that you share a bit about that journey, what you've learned, and instill that hope in all the moms that are listening.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm surprised by myself too, I have to say very honestly. But I think really the key is to do things like I always say, like take action, take imperfect action, but every day. I mean, okay, maybe you take a day off here and there just because you need some time off, but like even if it's an hour, if it's 10 minutes, if it's 10 hours, whatever you can, you do. And for me, in the business, I figured out what I like doing. Like I said, I like connecting to people, I like writing. So I concentrate on that. I create the events because that gives me the connection. I have my community because it's very important to me and I love doing it. So I enjoy it. I'm happy doing it. And that gives me energy by doing it, but also it makes it easier for me to spend the energy on doing it, on the creation of everything. Then collaborating, because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like I said, this She Can membership that I managed to, we're partnering now, they're doing something amazing already. So they have a membership and I have a membership, and we could just do our thing and be like, oh, how many members has she got? And what events is she doing? But instead, I'm like, no, let's put each other together so that we can reach more people. So collaboration is, for me, is key. And then I lost the other point.
Like you're a parent, you're a mom, a wife, and you were able to create a business like from scratch. And it demands a lot of time, a lot of energy. I want you to like instill this hope to women that you can do anything. You can create your business today. And tell us a bit about how was that journey, the actions and ways you were able to balance both.
Well, the balance is definitely a challenge. I won't lie there. So it is hard in terms of I work late hours so that I can get the work done I need to do. But again, it's about prioritizing what really makes things happen. So for me, for example, like I said, the new connections, they work and they create the community for me. And I write for 2 years now. I've been writing an email newsletter almost every week. Some weeks I have no idea what I was supposed to write. I'm like, there's nothing happening, like lockdown. What do I tell them? What, we haven't left the house in 3 months. But there is something, I'm committed to it. I decided I'm going to send a weekly newsletter and I'm going to do it. And so I do it. And I think the consistency there. And also, I think what I realized is when I started, it was hard because I wasn't used to writing newsletters. I wasn't used to sharing my story. I didn't even think I was good at writing. I was like, who am I to tell them whatever is going on in my life? But over the time, I've become so much better. And now I get emails saying, oh, this is a beautiful story and you're writing so well. I'm like, really? Because I was like, I had no idea, but okay, I'm enjoying it now. In the beginning, not necessarily, but I kind of decided, okay, this is a tool that I believe can work and I want to see if it works. And it started working. So I kept doing it. So for example, I don't spend time a lot on Facebook or Instagram. Yes, I post on Instagram, but I repurpose a lot. So I share a lot of like what I'm writing for my emails. I share it on Instagram, for example. And sometimes I don't go on Instagram for weeks. And that's okay. Like I'm trying not to pressurize myself about what I should be doing, what everyone else is doing. But I think it's really about doing the things that feel good because you need the energy. It needs to be fun. And the things that actually generate some income. So, like client work and things like that, they have always priority. Yes, sometimes I'm like, oh, this stuff looks interesting. And maybe I want to, I don't know, attend that kind of masterclass about X, Y, and Z. It's I would love to learn about these things, but I'm always focusing, okay, I need to see what makes money so that my business makes money. And I need to see what makes me happy. And it's the community, it's the connection, it's the calls and that kind of thing. So I always prioritize that. And then if there's time, I do all the other things that would be nice to do, would be nice to have. And I think it's really about starting and continuing to do it, because then the feedback comes in. Then the people will say, wow, and what you have just shared really did something for me. You really created change. Then, like you get clients in and you do something for them and they're so grateful for you. And that fuels you. It's hard in the beginning, but you get to this point where, where the journey becomes a little bit easier. Exactly. And then there's a reward. And then also actually reward is a good point to celebrate. I wasn't good at that in the beginning. I was always looking at like, what do I want? Where do I want to go? What's the vision that I have for my business? But really important is to celebrate what you have achieved here right now. And even if it's not much, because like for me, the lockdown was very difficult because I had only started the business. I think it was started in February, and in March we went in lockdown. And my little one was 6 months at the time. So it was like I had no time for nothing. But I still did tiny things, even was the tiny things, and I celebrated them. And I've really looked back and I write down a lot of the achievements. And when I feel like, oh, this is too hard, like, it's taking long to grow the business, or I'm tired because I have my book and I look into it and I'm like, hey, Anne, like you've come quite a way. You did really well. And I say that to myself and I share it with others without feeling, I don't know, that
Guilt.
that I'm praising myself. Like I have created something and I can be proud of myself. And I think this is important.
Yeah.
Because we often, as women, we brush it under the
The
carpet. We're like, oh no, it's nothing. Yeah, it's easy. Like, it's not. And it can be said and it's deserved. And I think this is important.
Yeah. Each victory needs to be celebrated.
Exactly. Small, big, it was a struggle. It was not a struggle. It came really easy. It has to be celebrated. And it doesn't mean like it has to be celebrated in a big way, but it has to be celebrated in the moment of telling yourself you did a good job, giving yourself a little pat on the shoulder, enjoying a coffee, and really just taking 2 minutes time and think, yeah, I did this well. I did this, I don't know, proposal. I landed it. It was really amazing. Yeah, when I'm looking at it, wow, like tell yourself that stuff, you deserve these words from yourself. Yeah,
That's great.
that's quite an
That's great.
important one.
Anne, can you give me a moment? My grandma is in the other. Give me 1 minute.
Okay. All right. No worries. Sorry.
I live with my grandma, so there was like little noise. I was like, yeah, little bit.
I know.
So
This is usually with me and the kids.
these are the come home to you. Staying
Exactly.
authentic to ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Life is what it is. We're not perfect.
I think that's the
There can be
most
noise.
important thing. Me, when I started to say grace, don't think about what other people are thinking about you or anything. I think that's the moment when you're ready to show who you are, to stay authentic and not to have to prove to other people who you are. I think there's like a weight that goes. And you are doing an awesome job, like inculcating your community to just let go and be yourself, show up as who you are.
Absolutely. I
That's
mean, I will always remember when I started and I decided to do this virtual event. And I had to speak to some amazing experts, to some people who have a big following on the internet. And I don't like speaking. I don't like cameras. I actually really hate it. But I was like, I want to do this because I want to create my community. And I believe this is a great tool. So I had calls with them and I would read their bios and my tongue would twist and I would be like so conscious about my German accent, for example. And I would be like, gosh, like, like you look rubbish on camera and you sound rubbish on camera. I was really conscious about it. But from the gate of that event, I shared it. I said, listen, I'm not a camera person. I'm not a speaker, but I want to bring this to you. And I know it can be valuable and I want you to learn from other people. And, I had unbelievable amount of responses to that saying, thank you for just being honest about it. And it's cool. It's not as bad as you think, but fair enough. You feel that's what it is. But like just to really just be you and to not pretend that you've got it figured out. Because you don't have to. Like really for me it was like, I'm doing it anyway. It might be crap, but who cares? I'm doing it. And that fact of like sharing that has brought so much courage to other people, which is amazing. Like if you think about it, by just really being honest, you can create something like that. And for me now, like I don't care, camera on, camera off. Like now I can't care less about it. Okay, I'm still not really keen on the accent. but well, it's what it is. I'm German, can't change it. And like, again, it's like we're always our worst critic for ourselves. We pick apart everything we do, everything we say, and other people don't see it that way. Other people actually are really quite impressed, or I don't know, like really inspired by what we do. So we've got this platform, this opportunity, and it would be a shame if we're holding ourselves back because we're worried about what other people think, and we're not good enough, or we're not expert enough, or not professional enough, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah. In a world where there's like a lot of filters, I think it's just good, just be who you are. It's so simple. It's so simple. You don't have to, it's like a lot of energy is depleted by trying to meet standards and trying to be someone else, trying to be perfect. But each individual, like, we have our little imperfection, and that makes us unique.
Exactly. And that's what someone else will love about you. Someone else will exactly relate to that one thing that you think is your big imperfection, and it creates that connection. Like, I still have, like, I created friendships from people who send me emails saying, like, you're not as bad as you think. And that's incredible. Like, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have these things in my life now. So yeah, I'm a strong believer that you've just got to do it. Even if it's uncomfortable, you do it, you get better with time. Everyone gets better. We always start somewhere, and we improve and we learn. But that's the only way forward. Everything else means that you're gonna not do it because you're just scared, and that means there's an opportunity that you might miss.
You give a lot to your community, but if there's one thing that your community taught you, what would it be? What was it?
I think it's that point of, like, just do it, and it brings value. You might not see it as like this amazing big thing or whatever, but it brings value to someone else. And by just doing what I think I should be doing or want to do, it makes things happen, and it changes things for people. And I think community is what is needed, and people are very open to that. So it's just a question of, like, being open yourself as well, I think, and not being worried that someone judges you. And yeah, I think having an open mind.
Great. And like a last word to moms out there, if you had just to say something that comes from your heart to all the moms that might be listening to this podcast, what would you say to them?
What would I say to them? There's so many things I would love to say, but I think the main part really is really, for me, is you as a mom, you matter, you are important, you deserve everything that you want. And like you said, you are the educator, you are creating the next generation. So you've got this most important job that is sometimes the hardest job in the world. And even if you feel you don't know what you're doing it anyway, because you're the best mom you can be. You do everything that you can.
Great. So thank you so much, Anne. It was such a pleasure having you on this podcast. And I really hope that all the moms that feel lost, that feels lonely, come into your community to find that support system that they need, and the mother to cater after them. And I really want to say thank you again, and happy birthday. And may all your project for your community, like, keep on growing and growing, and keep up that amazing work. And I can't wait to see what's in store for you in, like, the next years and months. So yeah, thank you so much, Anne, and see you maybe soon. I hope so.
Yes, let's stay connected. Like I said, I think it's amazing to connect with people and see what's going on and how we can, support each other. But thank you for the opportunity. here. It was wonderful to talk to you. And thank you for all these beautiful words you had for me, what I'm doing, and for the community. I really appreciate that.
Keep up. And where can people connect with you? Like, tell us where, like, there's a mom who's listening to you. Where can she connect with you? Where can she see your work?
Yeah, so the website of the community is comehometoyou.net. And then the main social media where I hang out is Instagram. And at Instagram, it's _and_Rajoo_. So that's the two places I would say. And then again, like on my email list. So, you know, like even if you want to send me a DM with your emails are where I'm probably the most active and where I share really the most, the deeper things, I would say. You know, Instagram can be quite superficial of like the nice pictures and all of that, but the real stuff is happening by email. So if you want to connect there, that's probably the best way.
Can we connect even though we are not a mom?
Yes, of course. If you don't mind this, like reading and listening to this,
oh no, I love it.
Mom stuff. You know, at the end of the day, it's a lot about me personally. It just happens that I'm a mom, and that sometimes that brings certain challenges and certain circumstances. But a lot of the things I think are just really applicable to women in general, and especially young women like yourself who've got like this beautiful life ahead of them. I think if you already start with the right mindset, the doors are just wide open and so many opportunities will come your way. So yeah, join the email list. Absolutely.
Yeah, join. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Thank you. It was a really I've enjoyed that conversation, and thank you so much for being authentic, raw, and like sharing part of your life, because I think that we need more of, you know, vulnerability, like story we can connect with. And that's why I create a Blah Blah Industry podcast, because since a kid, I was like, a story can change the life of a person. And by sharing yours, I believe that you can move mountains. So keep up. And we stay connected.
And you too. Exactly, because I think it's very important what you're doing, and you're doing that, you know, just for fun, kind of on a passion project, which is amazing, because I know you've got plenty of stuff to do. So keep it up.
Thank you.